So, this is our presentation, NHS Go 1 year on, developing social media insight at Healthy London Partnership. 1 year on, so this is what I'm going to tell you about. Who are we? What's NHS Go? Why is this important? Why is information access to health information for young people important? And how we're using the app and social media to broaden that access. So, here are some numbers, lots and lots of numbers, and these really paint the picture of a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when Healthy London Partnership was just getting started. We know that not all those stats are completely the picture right now, but this was the picture that we were presented with when we started. So 40% of 15-year-olds drinking alcohol once a week, to give you an example. Over 2 million children aged 0 to 19 in London, 600,000 of whom live in poverty. And we know about all the social determinants of health that come with that. 20% of 4-year-olds are overweight or obese. So you get the picture. It's a real challenge, and it's not just London, and it's not just other major cities, but London comes with a particular burden of public health challenges. This is how Healthy London Partnership was born, I suppose. Came out of Better Health for London, which was back in 2012, and then and then the Mayor's response to the London Health Commission, and really Healthy London Partnership is a partnership featuring NHS England London, the CCGs. We work with all of the trusts in London to try and improve things, and our motto has been Once for London, and increasingly we're working with the STPs to try and build their capacity and their transformational ability. So, NHS Go. How did we go from the Mayor's report to NHS Go? We spoke to young people and we listened to them, and we heard that navigating the NHS is a real challenge for them. They didn't know when to access services, how to access them, where to access them, and they didn't know what their rights were. And so they didn't know what they were able to ask for, really. So it's a case of you don't know what you don't know. We held some focus groups, and they helped to form the design of the app, and they had a say over the content, the topics, the layout, the name, and that's really important because you'll notice that NHS is in the name. You'll also notice that the app's about a year old. Did anyone play? Actually, it's 18 months now. Did anyone play Pokemon Go? Put your hands up if you played Pokemon Go. Okay, I reckon a fair few of you are lying because a very small number of you put your hands up. So we got there first with the Go. That's what I'm going to say. But it was really important to young people for actually the NHS to be a prominent part of the name and the logo and the brand, because it's something that they trust, and where we're going to advertise it. So like it says here, we heard from over 500 young people, which is a pretty strong level of engagement. So like I say, they wanted the branding. Another thing they really wanted was the confidentiality of the app. So first thing that people do when they get sick, type it into Google, it gets all your cookies and it saves all the information about what you're saving, and then suddenly 2 clicks later you're looking at something else and it comes up with adverts for whatever it is you've just been searching. If you're a young person worrying about mental health or about sexual health, which were the top issues that they told us they're worried about, you don't necessarily want that coming up on your adverts when you're at home with your family. It's a bit embarrassing, so the confidentiality aspect was really important. And obviously, for young people, it needs to be free and it needs to be easy. We know that if something's not intuitive to use, they just won't use it. So that was that. So we also involved them in the kind of the development, the procurement, the promotion, and the evaluation. The app itself. This is the front page. You can see there's the topics that you'll see on the blue screen are some of the issues that they told us are most important to them. So healthy eating, sleep, mental health, stress, anxiety, sexual health, and then you can see the contents, because actually all the information is pulled from NHS Choices, so you can find out about any health issue really. It's just those ones on the front page are the ones that they're really concerned about. It's also got a services section where you can put in your postcode or a location and find services near to you, so sexual health clinics, pharmacies, A&Es, etc. And this is the bit where it's a bit tricky, it being a London app, because that bit works much better in London. And obviously we'd love it to be a national product, a national app, so that everyone could benefit from that service. But at the moment we're a bit restricted on that, and that's being perfectly honest. But the rest of it works perfectly for everybody. You're right, like I said, people didn't know their rights, so we worked with them to find out what it is they wanted to know, and also gave them information about how they can make complaints. So some key stats. We've got over 65,000 downloads, over 650,000 in-app views, and we know that people spend longer on NHS Go than they do on other comparable health information apps. And that's actually a really important metric. As much as the downloads and the page views is important, we know that people are not just looking at it, but they're valuing the information they find on it. So what's making it so good for accessing information? That's what you're here to hear about. It's to hand. Literally, hold your phone in your hand, it's right there. It's reliable. The information's pulled from NHS Choices, so it's a legitimate NHS source. It's high quality. So like I mentioned, that they're spending longer on there than they do on equivalent health information apps. And it's relevant. So on our front page, we're able to highlight particular pages, and we can do that in line with things going on. So for example, there should be, hopefully if I've done it right, there should be something up there on the top screen today about Eating Disorders Week, for example. And also through our Facebook page, we're able to highlight particular things that are relevant. Also, and I think this is not necessarily part of the app, but it's part of the appeal of the brand of it. When we first launched it, for a good year or so, we were using YouTubers to promote the app and to talk about general health issues. Hands up who's got teenagers, or who is a teenager? Are there any teenagers here? No. Teenagers don't necessarily just watch TV anymore. They'll spend ages watching YouTubers, and you or I might never have heard of them, but they're really famous. They've got hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. So we used some of these guys: Hannah Witten, Riyad Khalaf, Lucy Moon. There are loads more as well. Luke Cutforth and Lucy Flight. These are two of my personal favourite videos, and the links are there. You'll be able to watch them. It's also a really perfect platform for campaigns. So back in September, we ran an Ask About Asthma campaign across London, working with professionals and with young people to raise awareness of particular issues around asthma. And as you'll see there, we got some quite high profile backing for it. But the social media was really, that was our way of getting it out there and getting that information out to a really wide audience in a very short space of time, and quite cheaply as well. I'll be upstairs during the break, so you'll be able to look out for the posters and for these amazing cards that really grab kids' attention or teenagers' attention. We're also on social media, so like I said, this week it's Eating Disorders Week, so we're able to highlight that. We've got 17,000 on Facebook, not as many as have downloaded the app, but still that's a pretty good way of getting attention, and we know that our Facebook and Instagram campaigns reach a really wide audience. And there are some quotes here, and I promise you we didn't pay them apart from the fee to turn up to give the quotes. But I'm going to fast forward to the top one on this page, because actually it kind of highlights the importance of the accessibility and the confidentiality of the app. It's really providing people with vitally important information that they might not have been able to get hold of in the first place. So, next steps. We're working on some technical updates all the time. We're obviously working more with young people, I'm getting that looming, threatening time's up. So anyway, you can see we're working on improving it all the time and hopefully trying to get it out to a wider audience. And you'll be able to find on the website more information about how to get in touch. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.